The moment his hand found hers, everything else in the room seemed to disappear. It wasn't scripted to feel that real. At least, that's what everyone thought. But the silence that followed spoke louder than any line they had rehearsed. Wang Hedi's eyes softened in a way that cameras can't fake, and Shen, caught between staying in character and reacting as herself, hesitated for just a second too long. That pause became the heartbeat of the entire scene. It was fragile, almost trembling, like something too honest to belong on a set. And in that fleeting exchange, viewers weren't just watching a performance anymore. They were witnessing something that felt dangerously close to truth. That was the highlight everyone kept replaying. From the very beginning of their appearance on the inn, there was an unspoken anticipation surrounding Wang Hedi and Shen. Fans had followed their journey for years, from the unforgettable spark they created in earlier projects to the lingering curiosity about whether that chemistry could ever be recreated. But what unfolded here wasn't just a repetition of the past. It was deeper, more mature, and unexpectedly intimate. Their performance didn't rely on grand gestures or exaggerated drama. Instead, it thrived in the quiet moments, the glances that lingered just a second too long, the subtle shifts in tone, the way their energy seemed to sync even when they weren't speaking. It felt organic, like two people who understood each other beyond the script, beyond the expectations placed on them. As the episode progressed, it became clear that their connection wasn't just about nostalgia. There was a new layer to it, something shaped by time and experience. Wang Hedi carried himself with a calmer confidence, his presence more grounded, while Shen brought a softness that balanced his intensity perfectly. Together, they created a rhythm that felt effortless, almost as if they had never stopped working side by side. One of the most talked about segments was when they were tasked with working together on a simple activity, something that, on paper, seemed ordinary. But in their hands, it became something unforgettable. Whether it was the way he instinctively stepped in to help her without being asked, or how she responded with a quiet smile that said more than words ever could, every interaction felt layered with meaning. There was a moment when Shen struggled slightly, and before anyone else could react, Wang Hedi was already there. Not in a dramatic, attention-grabbing way, but in a quiet, almost protective manner. He didn't make a show of it. He simply adjusted what needed to be adjusted, offered a few words and stepped back. But the look he gave her lingered, gentle, reassuring, and deeply attentive. It was in moments like these that their performance transcended the boundaries of entertainment. It wasn't about impressing the audience anymore. It was about being present with each other. And that authenticity is what made it so powerful. As the storyline within the show unfolded, their scenes together became the emotional anchor. Even when surrounded by a lively cast and bustling activity, the atmosphere shifted whenever they shared the screen. There was a stillness, a kind of emotional gravity that drew viewers in without effort. Their dialogue scenes were particularly striking. Instead of rushing through lines, they allowed the emotions to breathe. Wang Hedi's delivery carried a subtle weight, each word chosen carefully, while Shen Yu's responses felt instinctive and heartfelt. It was a delicate balance, one that required trust not just in the script but in each other. And that trust was evident. There was a scene where they had to confront a misunderstanding, and instead of escalating into dramatic tension, it unfolded with quiet vulnerability. Wang Hedi's expression shifted almost imperceptibly, his frustration giving way to something softer, more reflective. Shen Yu, on the other hand, held her ground with a calm sincerity that made the moment feel incredibly real. It wasn't loud. It wasn't explosive. But it was deeply affecting. What made their performance truly incredible was the way they communicated without words. A glance, a slight tilt of the head, a pause before speaking. These small details carried immense emotional weight. It's the kind of acting that can't be forced. Comes from a place of genuine understanding, of being completely in tune with your scene partner. Off-screen moments captured during the show only added to the magic. Between takes, there were glimpses of laughter, shared jokes, and an ease that suggested a strong foundation of familiarity. They didn't need to try to create chemistry. It was already there, quietly anchoring everything they did. Fans quickly noticed these subtle interactions. A brief moment where Wang Hedi adjusted something for Shen Yu without breaking conversation. The way she naturally leaned toward him when speaking, as if it was second nature. These weren't staged moments. They were spontaneous, unguarded, and undeniably genuine. As the episode reached its peak, their final scenes together carried a sense of emotional culmination. It felt like everything had been building toward that point. Not just within the narrative, but in the energy they had been creating from the very beginning. There was a quiet intensity in the way they held each other's gaze, as if acknowledging something unspoken. It wasn't about closure or resolution. It was about presence, about being fully in that moment without distractions, without pretenses. And when it ended, it didn't feel like an ending at all. It felt like something lingering, something that stayed with you long after the screen faded to black. The impact of their performance extended far beyond the episode itself. Social media was flooded with clips, analyses, and emotional reactions. Viewers weren't just talking about what they saw, they were talking about what they felt. The authenticity of their connection had struck a chord, reminding people why they had fallen in love with this pairing in the first place. But more than that, it showed growth. Wang, Hedi, and Shen, you didn't rely on past success to carry them. They brought something new to the table, something richer, more nuanced, and deeply personal. Their performance was a testament to how far they had come as individuals and as collaborators. It's easy to create a moment that looks good on screen. It's much harder to create one that feels real. And that's exactly what they did. Every glance, every pause, every shared moment was infused with a sincerity that couldn't be manufactured. It was the kind of performance that doesn't just entertain. It resonates. It lingers. It stays with you in quiet, unexpected ways. By the time the episode ended, one thing was clear. This wasn't just another highlight. It was a reminder of what happens when two performers truly connect. Not just with their roles but with each other. Their performance wasn't just incredible. It was unforgettable.